G'day and welcome back to my channel. Now, it was quite a while back that I finished this kit and I've been meaning to do a video, so I thought I'll do it this weekend. So, finally catch up, have a look at it. Now, it's what I call the macaroni, but it's a Macchi Castoldi M.C.72. Fastest seaplane world record. I think it still holds it. I think it basically still holds it as the fastest seaplane. It's incredible. This thing just, I don't have the figures in front of me. I'll try and put them on the screen there. But this thing scooted along the water, and in the 1930s when it was racing, it was incredible. It's got two V12 motors, one behind the other, and they independently turn two different rotor blades here. So they, and I think they counter rotate, be that sort of thing. So you've got two engines, two props, driven, and the thing used to just absolutely scream along. Used to crash a bit too, apparently, but anyhow, she's okay. She's a fast. Now, this is a pretty ordinary kit. I picked it up because I was buying a, well, the Brexit was happening. The UK dollar was so good against the Australian dollar that I picked up a Sopwith Camel, a 1/32 scale, one Rodin one, for virtually less delivered in Australia than I could buy it here. It was about 60% the price. It was absolutely absurd. Anyhow, while I was looking for that, I know I was searching through and seeing what else they had. For £3, I could get this kit. So I thought, what the heck? I might get one. And then I got one for a mate as well. So I got two of these kits for £6. And it cost me nothing more in postage. So, you know, that was a bargain. It was a bargain. So anyhow, basically, the plastic's not real good. Here's a bit of a photo here. Very soft, very flashy, very soapy, very ordinary, and by the time you clean it all up, you've lost just about all the detail. The instructions are even worse. You do get a blurb, yes, you get a bit of a history. So actually it'll tell you here, there was a 1931 Snyder Cup there, and it won a whole lot of stuff. I won't go into any detail here, but yeah, it's a 24-cylinder AS engine. Well, there you go. Two basically 12-cylinder V12s, I think, back to back. Incredible bloody thing, massive amounts of power it popped out. Does it tell you how? Average speed of 681.97 kilometres an hour. That's a lot of miles. Yeah, you can do the conversion. That's a friggin' lot of miles. But anyhow, it did very well. I think it still holds the basically the speed record for a seaplane, because no one else has been game to go that fast underwater. Now, you open it up and you get a whole lot of do's and don'ts and all the rest of it. And then, I'll do it this way, you get the instructions. That's it. One page. That's all you're going to get, because there's really not much in this kit. So the props, as you'll see as the photos come on, they were absolutely horrible, and I ended up reshaping them completely. Basically sculpting my own props to get them into shapes that look like propellers instead of great big slabs of popsicles. The body fit was reasonably good. That wasn't too bad. But once you got to the wing, well, you'll see in the video, the wing doesn't fit at all. There's about a ton of filler in there. I used everything from CO glue and epoxy putty and some white bloody stuff that I had. Yeah, that was bloody ordinary. And then trying to line up, I ended up reshaping and cutting in a lot to the tailplane to get it to fit. The windshield is just a piece of acetate. So that wasn't too bad, actually. That was, at least I could cut that out, mask it up, paint it. That was probably the easiest thing. Floats are a friggin' nightmare. Absolutely. You'll see as that comes in the photos that'll follow. But these little things, there's no indication as to which ones go where. Notice there's no part numbers. It's pick a part and guess how you go. Yes, good on you, Smer. So anyhow, the halves went together reasonably well, and I got them looking fairly good. But when it came to putting these guys on, oh, look, nothing fitted. They all had to be reshaped. The holes had to be dug out. It was bloody dreadful, you know. And then they say, do it again. I mean, what was the point? They haven't got part numbers. Do it there, do it here. Well, oblivious, yes, absolutely. And then finally you get to your last step here, which is assemble that to there. And put the exhaust on. The exhaust aren't too hard to put on. Getting those floats and the spacers and everything to go in and get the geometry to actually work. Well, I was kind of bored before. I'm bloody bored now. No, it's a friggin' nightmare, this kit. It really is. And I made a huge mistake in trying to assemble it all, get that all right, and then paint it, because it's so filly with the paint job, because these are all little copper radiators here. And trying to paint those while I had that all assembled in there was too hard. And by that stage, I wasn't pulling it off. No way, because it had taken me so long to get that alignment right, actually get that thing to sit, and also to weight it and get it to sit on its front feet. In fact, I went through 2 sets of floats because they're so bloody terrible. I wrecked the first ones, and I ended up using my mate's spare kit because he decided after he was seeing the trouble I was having, he wasn't going to build it. Anyway, that's it. That's all you get. And then you go on the back and they just say, well, here's some other kits you could buy. Which, there you go. Now, the kit harks back to about the 1980s. As far as I can tell, it's not a Reeboks or anything. It's just, it is their kit. But anyhow, I struggled through and I scratch built an interior and I did a ton of work on this thing, as you'll see in the photos to come. And then basically after quite a few months, I got a result. Right? So there she is. And I'm pretty proud. It actually turned out. I mean, all that painting and trying to get those copper things and trying to get everything lined up and working. The only thing that went wrong is the props don't spin, because basically I ended up having to put more weights into the nose here to try and get the thing to sit properly, and the white glue leaked down and sealed up my props. So they're never going to turn, but that doesn't matter. At least they're in a nice sort of position. I sort of had them like that. But I built you'll see later on, the interior is all scratched. You probably can't see this. You'll see better in the photos. But anyhow, I got a result and I was pretty happy with it. But I still thought, gee, it's a pretty ordinary kit. But the guys at the club encouraged me to take it along and put it in a monthly competition, which, I thought, oh, okay. I'll put it there. I wanted to see it. I thought, probably looks better in the photos. If you actually see it in real life, it's got a few dog ears here and there. But anyhow, I took it along to the club. Everybody loved it. And then I found out later on, I'd won first place again. Yes, that's my third first place this year in the club competitions. And they've all been silly little aeroplanes. Didn't used to build aeroplanes, but now I'm building a lot of them. Yeah, so there you go. All right, well, I'll walk you through now. We'll do a complete slideshow and I'll talk over the top of it. And, of course, I'll talk over the top of it. I'm always bloody talking in my videos. And I'll show you all the trials and tribulations that I went through to get this macaroni seaplane built. So here's the sprues, and as you can see, they're pretty soft. Top left-hand corner, you can see how bad that prop is, all the gunk on it. And managed to clean up most of the parts and get them looking reasonable before I started. But the props were the hardest. I had to reshape, try and get some bloody trim on them, try and get some angles, and some, they were just dreadful. But I spent a whole afternoon, I got them looking really nice in the end. And the body went together reasonably well, the fuselage halves, and the floats, as I said, they actually weren't too bad. But that wing was a nightmare. It just doesn't fit. You butt up to it, and there's just a big, awful gap there, and it just required a ton of filler to make the thing actually smooth up to the fuselage. Now, the floats, as I said, I built them off the plane, got the angles all right, then I assembled the whole thing, using some jigs there that I made up, and that sort of worked. It took a lot of mucking around, but I got the thing to actually sit, although it's sitting on its tail. I forgot to put the weights in, didn't I? So I had to get the drill out, drill some holes in the floats, push some lead sinkers in, and that would basically make sure she weights forward. But I used super glue, didn't I? Zap super glue. More about that later in the disaster. Anyhow, I got on with the interior because there was no interior on this plane at all. I had some leftover parts from a P40 kit that I had, and I wanted to build that interior. That's an actual photo of the correct plane. There's quite a lot to do to get it up to speed to look like that. So I managed to pinch the dash and the seat and a few of the little control arms, and they were all reshaped and repurposed so that I can go in. I also had to adjust the shape of the opening there for the canopy. It was all wrong. This kit's just so wrong. So I did that. I got that all the correct angle and the correct curve, and I managed to fit my seat in. I had to shuffle that down a bit, cut the profile off the top of the seat to make sure I got the headrest shape, and that all went together reasonably well, and those parts turned out great. I mean, I was really happy with that. Most enjoyable part of the build, actually. It wasn't even parts that were in the kit. Did manage to break the spacer for the floats there while I was doing all that, so I had to reshape those. Now, I had to cover up those holes that I poured the weights and the super glues in, so I cut some card and put them on. But then, look, disaster. After a couple of days, that super glue overheated in the confined space, and it wrecked my floats. Luckily, I had the other kit, so I was able to go to the second kit and pull the floats off it. I also needed the wing again, because unfortunately, when I pulled the floats off to fix it, the bloody wing snapped with all that filler and all the gunk there. So that was okay. I pretty well knew exactly what to do this time, so I reshaped and cleaned everything up and got it all ready. Now this time when I put the weights in, I used Sally's PVA wood glue. That's white wood glue. So there wasn't any chance of distortion, and she lined up beautifully. I was becoming an expert now at getting those floats on and jigging the whole thing and getting it together. So next I had to basically have a look at where all the bad joins were. So I got a coat of grey primer on just to see how things were going. Didn't look too bad. Put a coat of white primer on. This is what I wanted to use as the base coat. That showed up a myriad of sins, and I had to get in all over the thing and sand and scrape and repaint to get all the joints looking half decent. Now, next I needed to mask off the wings because I needed the body red. The body and the floats needed to be red. There's a method to my madness here. So there you go. I've sprayed on the red. I used life colour to start with. The colour wasn't too bad. It wasn't quite Italian racing red. But that was a start, and now I needed to address those radiators. There were so many of them. And I hand painted on the floats. I started hand painting on the wings, but I was getting a bit messy, and I decided I better mask all this up. So I masked everything up. I did the same with the floats in the end, masking everything and painted them all in. Now I ended up using Tamiya bloody paint, which gave me the best effect. And masking, and I actually bought a brush to do this. I bought a nice wide brush to get the strokes just right, and those copper radios came up a treat. But as I said, the red wasn't exactly to my liking, so I ended up having to mask the radios over the top again, because I needed to get red on. And I went to Rattle Can Tamiya Italian Racing Red, and it was glossy and it was lovely, and that was exactly what I wanted. Next, on with the interior, and I detailed and weathered up those few parts, ready to put inside, and there you go, all that work. And there's the tiny interior. It really did lift it, actually. Made quite a difference to have an interior on that. Last thing to do then was to get some racing stripes on, and also to paint the covers of the engine outlets. So they came up nicely. I was quite happy with that. That really was a fairly easy job, and I did the canopy. I masked and painted that. Then the last thing, rigging. And that wasn't that hard at all because I pre-drilled all the holes. The rigging went in fairly easily. So there she is, all finished. My Smer Macchi Castoldi M.C.72 in 1/48 scale. So yes, lots of work, lots of work. Yes, if you want to try and attempt one of these, well, you're in for a lot of work if you enjoy that. I certainly wouldn't do another one, but it was an experience, and I'm pretty happy with my result. And as I say, winning first prize in my club competition, well, you know, first place, they don't give you a prize, no. But I might get a prize at the end of the year. I've got enough first places. Who knows? You never know. I won a trophy last year. They probably won't let me have one this year. Now, all right, well, that's it. What I'll do now is we'll end the video. I'll actually do a slideshow of some rather nice photos I took of the macaroni, and you can tap-toe your way and sing your way out of that. If you've got a banjo, play along. All right, that's enough for now. So it's goodbye from Australia, and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.